Bernie Sanders is making sure this stimulus package gets approved quickly. Let's see what he just said. But first, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I'd also like to thank my sponsor Webull. They've partnered with me to provide free stocks for my viewers, valued up to $3,700. It's completely free and takes 2 minutes. All you need to do is open an account using the link in the description of this video. Feel free to sell the stocks immediately to use the money if you'd like. Just make sure to fully open an account and then click on the green button that says get free stocks. Bernie Sanders is making sure this package gets approved quickly. Let's see what he just said.
You've said that Joe Biden is off to a good start. Some of your progressive colleagues want him to do more. For example, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants him to forgive student loan debt. Congresswoman Cori Bush wants bigger direct payments to Americans. Congressman Jamal Bowman called for a more progressive cabinet. Are they right?
Look, we're going to push Joe as the president as far as we can, but given the fact that he's been in office for less than a week, I think he is off to a good start. What we have got to do is recognize that right now we're living in an unprecedented moment in American history. You got the pandemic, you got an economic collapse, we got climate change, we got a crumbling infrastructure. And what we have millions of people working for starvation wages. And what we have got to do is roll up our sleeves and fight for the agenda that working people throughout this country want. They want to raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. They want that direct payment of $1,400 on top of the $600. We've got to do that. They understand that during the midst of the healthcare crisis, we cannot have millions of people being thrown out of their houses or lack healthcare. So we have an enormous amount of work. Then you throw in impeachment, you throw in the need to get
Bernie Sanders and fellow Democrats are fighting for student loan debt forgiveness, as well as more stimulus checks, including adult dependents, not just children dependents, but adult dependents as well. He wants Biden to have a more progressive cabinet and more stimulus for those on Social Security benefits. Remember, we're still waiting for that $200 per month stimulus payments for those on Social Security. They're also fighting for that $15 per hour minimum wage. And let me know in the comments if you agree with Bernie Sanders.
Get Biden's nominees confirmed. It's a lot of work that has to be done, and we're going to roll up our sleeves and do it.
So you've suggested that Democrats might need to use a process called reconciliation, which requires only 51 votes instead of the 60 to pass the coronavirus relief plan. You just heard Mitt Romney say that Republicans like him have shown that they are ready to compromise. So should Democrats move to pass coronavirus relief with 51 votes if they can't get Republican support, say, before the impeachment trial?
Well, I don't know what the word compromise means. I know that working families are living today in more economic desperation than since the Great Depression. And if Republicans are willing to work with us to address that crisis, welcome, let's do it. But what we cannot do is wait weeks and weeks and months to go forward. We have got to act now. That is what the American people want. Now, as you know, reconciliation, which is a Senate rule, was used by the Republicans under Trump to pass massive tax breaks for the rich and large corporations. It was used as an attempt to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And what we are saying is, you use it for that, that's fine. We're going to use reconciliation, that is 50 votes in the Senate plus the vice president, to pass legislation desperately needed by working families in this country right now. You did it, we're going to do it, but we're going to.
Okay, Bernie is referring to Joe Biden's Plan B. This is not what Joe Biden wants to do. He wants to get this done at a bipartisan level, but Bernie Sanders is saying this, you know what? We'll give Republicans a chance. We'll try and do this at a bipartisan level, but the people need help now. And let me know in the comments if you agree. Of course, I strongly agree, and I'm a strong proponent of getting this stimulus passed immediately. And Bernie is referring to the fact that right now, for a bipartisan package, Democrats need 60 votes in the Senate. Otherwise, Mitch McConnell and other Republicans can just filibuster, at which point that stimulus package will continue to be slowed down. Now, Bernie is referring to budget reconciliation, which only requires 51 votes. And Democrats could easily get that done. And Bernie is saying, okay, we'll give Republicans a couple of weeks, but we're not going to debate for weeks and weeks and months because the people need help now. And of course, I strongly agree. This is why Bernie is urging Joe Biden, do not debate with Republicans for weeks. Give them 1 or 2 weeks at the most, and then push forward with your plan B of budget reconciliation. Otherwise, we might be sitting here for months waiting for the stimulus package, and Bernie Sanders is making sure that does not happen.
Going to do it to protect ordinary people, not just the rich and the powerful.
And what's your timeline on that?
As soon as we possibly can. Look, Donna, I know these are crazy times. We've got a new president in. We're dealing with the horrors of this pandemic, which also have got to be addressed immediately. We have not done a good job in producing the amount of vaccine that we need and certainly getting it into the arms of people.
Do you want it
And
done
that's what
before the
Biden
impeachment
administration-
trial starts?
We got to do everything. I mean, this is not, you don't have the time to sit around, weeks on impeachment and not get vaccines into the arms of people. You don't have time to worry about vaccines and not deal with the fact that children in America are going hungry. We got to break through this old approach that the Senate takes years and years to do anything. We got a crisis right now. We can chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. The American people are hurting, and they want us to act. That's what our candidates ran for.
No excuses is what Bernie is saying. The Senate can do it all. If they have to work overtime, they have to do whatever it takes to get this done for the American people. They have to make sure they provide funding for that vaccine. They're also obviously still focusing on that impeachment trial in the Senate, but none of that is an excuse to slow down stimulus. This is what these people are, public servants. This is what they were elected to do. And let me know in the comments if you agree.
In this election, that's what the guys in Georgia won on. And we have got to reaffirm the faith of the American people in government that we can respond to their pain.
You mentioned that Republicans have used the so-called reconciliation process before, like in 2017, to try to kill Obamacare. You accused them of abusing the process back then. You said, quote, the function of reconciliation is to adjust federal spending and revenue, not to enact major changes in policy. But you alluded to this. You are the chairman of the Budget Committee, or going to be. You are already talking about using this tactic for things like paid family and medical leave, for universal pre-K and childcare, for climate change, tuition-free college, eliminating student debt, and the $15 minimum wage. How is that not what you criticize Republicans for doing?
Well, the devil is in the details of what we want to do and when we want to do it and when we have to do it. What we are talking about, by the way, are two separate reconciliation packages. Number one, the emergency one right now.
Right.
Get direct checks, get those checks into people's pockets right now so they can feed their families. And make sure that people are not evicted from their homes. Make sure that states have the funds they need to get vaccines into people's arms. That's what we've got to do right now. And then as soon as that is done, we have to rebuild this economy. Unemployment is much, much too high. Wages are much, much too low. There are structural problems that we have ignored for years. Climate change is a reality.
And you're okay doing all of that through this process that you criticize Republicans for using? These are major policy changes.
Okay, she's calling out Bernie Sanders essentially for being a hypocrite. And I'm going to be honest with you. She's technically right, but Bernie is not doing this in vain. He is doing this to help the American people. And she's referring to the fact that that budget reconciliation tool is technically not meant for things like this. But both Democrats and Republicans do this. Trump did this to pass his tax cuts back in 2017. Obama did this to help pass Obamacare back in, I believe, 2010. And now Bernie Sanders wants to do this to pass stimulus and help the American people quickly. I think we can all agree that that is okay. But technically, she's right. Bernie is technically contradicting himself here, but the point he is making is that it is not being done in vain. He is doing this that way Republicans cannot block stimulus like Mitch McConnell has continued to do.
These are major policy changes, but the devil is in the details. And I criticize Republicans, for using reconciliation to give tax breaks to billionaires, to create a situation where large profitable corporations now pay zero in federal income taxes. Yes, I did criticize them for that. And if they want to criticize me for helping to feed children who are hungry, or senior citizens in this country who are isolated and alone and don't have enough food, they can criticize me. I think it's the appropriate step forward.
If Democrats don't pass these sweeping changes you're talking about, do you think that they will lose control of the House and Senate in 2022?
That's what history tells us. What history tells us is that when Clinton won in '92, 2 years later, the Democrats didn't do as much as they should have. They got swept out by the Republicans. Obama won in 2008, 2010. Republicans decimated them at the polling booths. Look, Donna, this is not complicated stuff. We're in an unprecedented moment in American history. Tens of millions of people are hurting. People are watching this program, do not have food in their cupboards to feed their kids. They are sick. They cannot afford to go to the doctor. They cannot afford the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs. They're worried about climate change and what that will mean for their kids and future generations. That is where we are right now. And the American people say, we elected you guys. Do something. Improve our lives. We are in pain.
Yes, Bernie is calling out both sides. He's not just calling out Republicans here. He's calling out Democrats for not helping the American people who elected them to do so. Let's not forget, Joe Biden and Senate Democrats ran on stimulus. They promised massive stimulus and stimulus quickly. And Bernie is pointing out the fact that if Democrats don't act boldly, Republicans will regain control of the Senate in 2 years and possibly even the House as well.
We are hurting. That's in red states, Republican states. It is in Democratic states. It is in rural America. It is in urban America. It is black, white, Latino, Native American, Asian American. This is a country that is in pain right now. And if Democrats, who have slim majorities in the House and the Senate, we got President Biden in the White House, if we do not respond now, yes, I believe 2 years from now, the Republicans will say, hey, you elected these guys. They did nothing. Vote for us, and they will win.
Thank you, Bernie. Bernie has continued to be one of the biggest advocates for stimulus, and let me know in the comments if you like Bernie. Whether or not you generally are a liberal or a conservative, a lot of people have begun liking Bernie because of his fight for stimulus. Now, with that said, Biden continues to try and do a bipartisan package, but Bernie is pushing for a quicker package if Republicans don't get on board quickly. And this is why experts are saying that we should expect to have a stimulus by mid-March. And I know that sounds completely ridiculous. That's about 6 weeks away. But Bernie is telling Biden to act even quicker. He's telling Biden, if we can't get an agreement in 2 weeks, let's move forward with budget reconciliation and get this done in the next few weeks, because mid-March is much too late. Let's be honest here. People are struggling. Senior citizens are struggling. Kids are struggling. Kids are not even being fed right now, guys. This is completely ridiculous that experts are saying that we might not have this stimulus until mid-March. And quite frankly, unless Bernie gets this done and can convince Biden to move quicker with budget reconciliation, I think he's right. I think mid-March is realistic unless Bernie can convince Biden to move forward more quickly. Now, why can Republicans continue to block this? Well, that filibuster, guys, I've talked about this in a lot of my videos. Mitch McConnell, although he's now the minority leader, no longer the majority leader, he can still use the filibuster to continue to slow down stimulus, at which point Joe Biden would then have to use his plan B, budget reconciliation, to get this thing done. Now, a lot of people have been calling for the elimination of the filibuster, and I've been touching on this in most of my videos. Democrats technically have the power to completely eliminate that filibuster tool, basically paving the way for unlimited stimulus for the next 2 years while they control the Senate. And quite frankly, I think they should do this, and let me know in the comments if you agree. Experts say this is technically an extreme move. To remove the filibuster would remove a large tool that creates checks and balances between the majority and the minority party in the Senate, essentially rendering that minority party in the Senate powerless. Democrats would have complete power in the Senate to pass basically whatever they want for the next 2 years. Now, whether or not you are Democrat or Republican, I know you might not like that. You might not want Democrats to go ahead and pass whatever they want in general, but for the sake of stimulus, this would get massive stimulus done quickly, and potentially even pave the road for multiple stimulus packages to be approved over the next 2 years. But guys, with that said, don't forget to subscribe. I will have updates on the timing of that next stimulus package, including those $1,400 stimulus checks, stimulus for those on Social Security benefits, that next unemployment boost, which is expected to be a $400 per week unemployment boost, as well as rental assistance and money for state and local governments as well. And guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share it with those who you think might find this helpful. I really appreciate your support, guys. If you made it this far into my video, thank you so much for supporting my channel, and stay strong out there, guys. Help is coming soon. I promise you that Joe Biden will get this stimulus package done, despite the fact that it's taking much, much too long, guys. But with that said, thanks again for watching, and have a great day.